Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Behind the Group podcast. I am DJ Keo.
And I am Basil Barrington, and we are back with another film review. Today, we are going to take a look at Back in Action. This is a Netflix film. IMDb thus far is trashing this joint with a 5.9. What do you
That's
think
too low.
about
I'm
this?
sorry.
It's too
That's
low?
too low.
Really?
Wait, it should be higher. It should be a lot higher than that. That's ridiculous.
Why do you think it should be a lot higher than 5.9?
This is a fun movie, man. It's been a long time since I watched a just fun family movie.
Mhm.
There's a lot of cursing. They're not having sex in the room next door. Like, seeing boobies just popping out randomly. Like, I can watch this with my parents, man, and be like, oh, this is fine. You understand? Like,
No exposures of cheeks. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. The random cheeks popping out. They're not doing drugs. I'm like, yo, I gotta explain stuff. Like, okay, Dad, this is what it is. They put it in the pipe, and they were like, I don't gotta do none of that. It's just a fun family movie. Great, good stuff.
After I finished watching it, I was like, "Oh, this was a lot better than Ghosted." Remember Ghosted on Apple TV?
Yeah.
You know, that was like
trash,
an
man.
action. You know, what was it? Action thriller, action comedy,
Romance,
rom com,
comedy,
whatever. It's just like it was so
rom-com.
many.
Yeah.
This film here, Back in Action with Jamie Foxx and Cameron Diaz, right? It's in the same vein as like some of these other sort of like spy couple movies, you know, like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, you know, even a Bad Boys, you know what I'm saying? It's that sort of American movie, right?
Some jokes, goofy jokes,
Right.
and shoot out somewhere. It don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And like just silly action. I will say this though, I enjoyed the choreography with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx. They did a good job of them.
Yeah.
And the other thing I liked is that their choreography they did together, so you could tell like you got the impression that they're a team. They've been doing stuff for many years. You get that feeling like, oh, I know where to stand here. When she kicks this dude over here, I'm gonna clothesline him and I'm gonna punch him in his forehead. Like, say they got that thing, the system down for fighting together. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. And I find the jokes are fine. I didn't think their jokes are terrible. I thought they're okay.
Yeah, they were okay.
Not terrible.
And the other thing is this, right? The first 10 minutes of the film, we always say, what's the first 10? Like the first 10 was dope. Come on. They got set up.
And the airplane? That was crazy.
They got set up.
Airplane. I was like, dude, when it started, I was like, oh, where's this going?
Okay. I was like, yeah.
Okay, all right.
I was like, they got set up. So I was like, so if you're going to have because this is, I'm going to just put this in a couple categories. This movie was cheesy, right? It was cheesy.
Yeah, it's
right?
very cheesy. It's silly cheesy.
It was a little corny. It was also predictable. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was fun, man. I was just like, this is a fun movie. I didn't have to like watch it and like, put it down, then watch it the next day. The pacing of this movie was pretty good because
I agree.
They had kids, they had the mother, they had these other scenes with like MI6 and Chuck and everything else. And I was like, the pacing is pretty good. And the fight scenes were pretty good too.
Yeah, fight scenes are decent. It didn't seem, you know what I'm saying? Like when they do a movie like this, you're like, oh my God, these older actors, they used to do stuff back in the day. All right, we'll slow it down. We're going to choreograph this thing. All right, look like you put your body into it.
Cosmic Sin.
Yeah, exactly. Sin. Like you got to look like we were rolling into this thing.
Give Bruce Willis a jetpack.
Yeah, no, everything was fast paced.
Right.
It made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like if this guy's a sharpshooter, she'd be driving so he can shoot. Like everything makes sense. Like it just makes sense. And even though it was predictable, it was fine. Like sometimes I just want like a popcorn movie that's I don't have to worry about nothing.
This is definitely popcorn. They categorize this as an action comedy. Would you also categorize this as a rom-com?
This is a family rom-com type thing for sure. It has elements of it because it's got their relationship and they're pumping out babies. Like okay, the kids are in school. Like it's kind of a rom-com type vibe to it, but it's also a spy thriller and an action movie. And I would say all of the places. So the action part was good. The romantic comedy part was okay. It wasn't terrible. It was like, that was fine. And then, the family stuff was also fine. Like, you know what I'm saying? When you got a movie with kids in there, usually kids are annoying.
Yeah.
And
straight
they're
up
doing too much in the scenes and you just want to strangle people.
yelling.
Or you're like, you want to turn it off, throw your remote across the screen. Like, I would never, like, everything that happened, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. I was like that when I was 16. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, I know things are different, right? But I know when we were coming up, no, you couldn't talk like that to the parents, dude.
Oh, hell no.
You could not talk like no. I do not know, because you see movies like this and you see the kids like back talking, their parents and everything. And I'm just like, dude, you just didn't do that. Listen, if you were back talking your parent and your parent didn't do anything and there were other adults around, the other adults would get with
you.
Yeah.
They would smack you for them. Like,
exactly.
I heard something.
So
I heard on the street.
Yeah. So I don't know with this Gen Alpha or whatever they call, man, Gen Zs or, I don't know, dude.
It's wild, bro.
That
is wild.
That does not happen, or it did not happen in my household.
It didn't happen.
No.
In our age group, that was not a thing. That did not happen.
That did not happen.
You box down, like,
for real.
Word's gonna get back to your parents, and you get beat twice. Like, that's what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah,
real talk.
So when you think about this movie here, so again, the first 10 minutes they were on a plane, and the I guess the terrorist or whatever, mercenaries or whatever, they had guns on a plane. So I'm just like, really? Guns on a plane, and you about to like switch something up on a plane? I mean, what do you have, like 18 parachutes or something like that? So
I don't think so.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, well, that's kind of weird right there. And then, when he did, when someone did pull the trigger and it hit like the pilot, I was like, oh, okay. That scene was pretty dope when it like slid down the mountain, and you had the the landslide, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. It was, again, there was, that part was cheesy, but it was done really well. It was almost like an opening scene to like the Citadel, remember?
It's like a James Bond intro to getting to a movie or whatever. You get the landslide where they gotta get out the plane. Like, this stuff was fine. Like, I felt like you could tell like they spent money on certain sections of the movie, like the stuff that was in, where was it, London? So that stuff in London looked like they spent money. Yeah. And the stuff when they were on the airplane looked like they spent money. And then they cut back considerably everywhere else. Like, they saved something. That was the same airport. Like, I looked at it, I was like, that's the same airport. You guys came right back in the airport.
Yeah. I mean, they had some obviously car chases or like pretty expensive explosions.
Yeah, the car chase was pretty elaborate. They're going to people's backyards and stuff.
Yeah, which was really? I mean, okay, I'm glad you brought that up. Because the film it's cheesy but good. There was some just really wild scenes in here, like when when they rolled up on their house, and then this house was in a cul-de-sac, so it's in a super suburban neighborhood. And then all of a sudden,
houses in there.
All of a sudden, like 4, black SUVs pull up and start, blasting the house, spraying the house, and I'm just like, and then rolling
Karen's
through the neighborhood.
On the phone right now, like, excuse me, please, officer.
Exactly. So I'm like, that was kind of unbelievable. And then when you think about that scene again, how it first started was when Chuck came to the door. So that right there, I was like, oh, that's a red flag first. And they're spies. And they didn't realize that, okay, this is a person you haven't seen in 15 years.
You haven't said that you guys are out the game. You just disappeared. He
right.
shows up at your door. I'll be like, all 5-alarm fire.
Right. It's like you assume, you were thinking that people will assume you actually died in a plane crash. Chuck shows up. And then they start trusting him right away. And I'm just like, dude, you've been out of the game for 15 years and now this person shows up? Like, that is a no. So they read that wrong. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And then they started.
They're rusty. They got kids. I give them that. Possibly they got kids. They got rusty. But like, honestly, for you and me, and people watching at home, I would red flag. I would have my gun out just in case. I would be ready to go just in case.
Right.
I'll pull him inside and tie him up, and we're gonna ask some questions, and then we're gonna see.
Yeah,
but
that's
like,
crazy,
this stuff was silly. It's a family movie. They're not trying to be Jason Bourne. They're just trying to do their own thing. And so because of that, you give them a little bit of leeway.
Yeah.
Because I'm not expecting a James Bond-esque movie where all the plot points have to make sense because it's a kids movie. You can't do that. But I will say this: the fights were good, action was good, plot was okay. Plot was pretty basic. Like it was as basic as you get.
It's pretty basic.
We gotta get this thing. They gotta get back to the MI6 or whatever. Yada yada yada. All right, fine. But I like Jamie Foxx. I like Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
Put them together. It's two things I like. I don't see how you go wrong here.
I like Glenn Close. I like Glenn Close too. You know what I'm saying?
Close too. Right. You have 3 W's right there. Just on the billing alone, you have 3 W's there. I don't know. I enjoyed this movie on a level that I forgot I could like movies like this that are just fun action things, like just silly.
So because you had 3 like rock stars right there with Foxx, Diaz, and Close, right? You know they got paid, right? So the film budget on this was what? Yeah. What do you think the film budget on this was?
I'd be like, it said it was like 150, 100 something.
I saw somewhere where it was like 178, and then they gave some money back, so it came out to like 150, 158. I also read something where it was like 78 million, right? But I'm like, let's just say 150, right? So again, we have explosions, we have stuff that's happening in a plane, we have like rock star, like actors.
Yeah, a lot of that budget went to the actors.
Yeah, you got to pay them.
Did she come out of retirement to go do this movie? Well, she was doing a lot of stuff, man.
I know Glenn Close got the most money because she's a rock star. She's a Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying?
Glenn Close is big.
Yeah. Okay, so the way this film, so they were going through stuff. I like the gas station scene too. It was kind of interesting.
It was decent.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because they had lied to their kids for so long, and then all of a sudden their kids saw them in action when they went to the club. They beat up these like kids.
Oh yeah, the club. Yeah, like body this dude.
I'm telling
broke his turntable, man.
I mean, dude, man, that guy, it's like, you would think that like Steve Aoki was at, how sometimes he used to like throw cakes off the stage.
Yeah. Dude, if that was my gear, I'll be hot right now. Like, who's gonna pay for this?
Steve Aoki, he went to throw a cake, but he stood on the table where the DJ stuff was. It totally split in half.
Yeah.
Like, dude, really? Like, come on. So, you had that scene. They beat up those little kids. They had to get their butts kicked too because they were just like, being disrespectful to the elders.
Underage thing bothered
me. What I'm saying?
I was like, this dude was like, I don't care. You see the underage. I was like, wait, what? Whoa! Yeah. Oh no!
Yeah,
I don't. See, I know it was bad for them to fight those guys in the club, but like when he was talking like that about the girl, I was like, nah, man. Hold these L's real quick.
Yeah, you got to,
hold these 2 L's real quick.
Lump sandwiches all the way around.
Right? All the way around. You got my little kid drunk? Oh, hell no.
For real. She's in there drinking and whatnot. I'm like, oh my goodness. It's like, okay, you want to be an adult? Go ahead. Bye-bye. Get out the house. Go be an adult. Don't come back, That's how the mom Dukes used to be. Oh, you want to be an adult? Okay, bye. Bye. Don't come back.
Word?
Next thing you know, an hour later, I'm sorry, mommy. You know what I'm saying? But
you will learn today.
Exactly. So you had so you had that scene, and then that was a pretty cool fight scene. And then at the gas station, I'm like, okay, these people, were they trying to kill the two? They really couldn't kill them because they needed to find out where this device was. Device, they call it, I think, a ICS, a International Control System or something like that.
Some computer thing that opens up all the locks, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Like, it's a computer MacGuffin.
So, in Heart of Stone.
Because you're right.
Remember in Heart of Stone? They had a device that was able to shut down everything as well, right? So I guess that's the prize in these spy movies. Exactly. So, listen, I wasn't, again, to be honest, I went into this thinking like, oh, this is gonna be so whack.
So did I, man. When I saw the trailer, I was like, oh boy. And then I was like, you know what? I wasn't doing anything. I was like, you know what? Let me check this out. Then I texted you. I was like, dude, you gotta watch this movie.
Okay.
I was like, yo, watch this movie. It's actually
not
the
a
first
bad
fight.
movie. Mm-hmm.
No, but I'm saying from the first fight, I was like, okay, this is interesting. They're actually fighting together. It's pretty good. It actually was pretty decent. I was like, if they keep this up, and they kept it up, I was like, okay, all right. Well, I cannot be mad about this movie because they do everything that I like. I like people who are competent. I say this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Give me action people who are competent, know how to do their job,
Mm-hmm.
embarrassing each other, like to be idiots or whatever. I like the good action set pieces, and it looks like you spent some money on this thing rather than in your basement. And you got 2 cameras and the iPhone. Like it looks like they've spent money to film it.
It looks good.
It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks really good.
Yeah,
I like the actors and the actresses. I think they're all great. I'm a big fan of Jamie Foxx. I like Cameron Diaz. Like I was like, I remember, they had the Charlie's Angels movie with Cameron Diaz.
Mm-hmm.
And she did a little bit of action there. It was silly, but she's done it before, and she's never done it before. She does know what she's doing. And I mean, it just came together. It was good. Directing was good. Everything just kind of came together. I'm not mad at this at all. Yeah, honestly, I gave it 2 thumbs up on Netflix. I was like, yo, there you go. Good job, Netflix.
I'm definitely not mad at this film. Again, like I said, I went in, I'm like, oh, not another cheesy, because sometimes you get those cheesy sort of like cop and spy joints, and it's just like, oh my goodness, you got a little slapstick
like,
here,
oh,
and it's like too much slapstick, and you have all these people running around, and then the different sounds and the noises and everything, and I'm like, okay. I thought it was really interesting how the kids witnessed exactly what their parents do over time. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And see, they saw it in the worst way possible too, because they're like, "Hey, I gotta go fight this guy. Please be careful. Just stay here." They were like, "Oh my god, my parents are fighting some people right now,
right?" And they're kicking butt.
How do we explain this? They're shooting us.
Exactly,
they're shooting at us.
Yeah, and then what do you think about Glenn Close? I mean, she made an appearance. She was there.
She had a great British accent. She's doing her thing. I like Glenn Close.
Love Glenn Close, man. Love the hair. Her hair, like in this joint. Hair was sick. I was like, okay, Glenn Close. I mean, her hair looks pretty good. I mean, the way it was styled and everything. I love her work, man. She does really great work. She doesn't seem like she's the types, sometimes you'll watch a movie and you're like, oh, okay, they did that because they just wanted a bag. They didn't really care about their art,
Yeah, she's having a ball here.
She's having a ball here, man.
She's having fun.
Exactly.
And, it fit. I know Cameron Diaz is Colombian or whatever, so like they're making her mom was like, yeah, all right, but it works out. It's fine. Like it's actually fine. I wasn't mad at it. This is the thing. I had a lot of fun with it, and I hope the way they set up this thing as a sequel, I hope enough people watch it. They're like, Netflix is like, screw it, we'll just make another one. I hope that's the case because this is good.
Okay, so it seems like Netflix may need their own Citadel. I think they do with Extraction. Extraction's pretty dope, right?
Yeah,
so
that's Netflix, right?
But now a lot of spy joints are popping up. You got the Citadel, you got like their whole franchise, and I'm just like, okay, come on back, because that's a genre that we sort of missed for a few years, right?
Yeah, no, I'm loving the spy stuff. They bring more. And it's kind of weird because spy stuff was better in the 60s and the 50s and the 60s because technology, all the MacGuffins now is we have this computer chip is going to open all the doors. Like that's all the MacGuffins now. Yeah. Before it could be anything. Just we have a photograph. That was it. That's all you needed. It was a photograph.
You know what I'm saying?
That could be in a whole movie about a photograph. Now everything's got to be technical with we got a computer chip. But I like fun spy stuff, and I like things they're not taking themselves too serious, but they're still trying to do a good job, and that's where I rank this movie. It's silly, but it's still trying to do a good job.
Yeah,
and you can tell that from the fight sequences with Cameron Diaz and Jamie Foxx. Like they were trying, they spent time and effort making sure this thing looks good and it's believable. Like you could tell the type of way that Cameron Diaz is fighting, she's using her legs more. And it's a more fairer match with the people she's fighting. And so, like, she's got to use objects and stuff to like that makes sense. Like that's reality.
And she was getting beat up some too, So was Jamie Foxx was getting beat up too. So I mean, I like those sort of things. Like when you have the
stakes feel higher, even though they're not going to get killed, but the stakes feel higher.
Just like hurt. Give me something that looks believable. Like someone just can't always win. They got to get lumped up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Get angry and then like go back into the whole scene. So this was so again, this was like they said it was an hour and 54 minutes. However, it was actually
I didn't feel like that.
No, actually it was shorter because the credits were 15 minutes. Like literally 15 minutes.
Like hour and a half, maybe less. Maybe
exactly. 20, so I was like, exactly. It's right around there. That's like
that's the perfect time for you.
That's the perfect time. I think. Listen, I think that Hollywood is really starting to realize and recognize that, you know what? It's okay to put out a film that's about an hour and a half long. I think that's fine. I was looking at
get to it. You're wasting too much time having all this dialogue and stuff. If you're not doing a miniseries, then just get to it, man.
There is a film that I put on. There's a film that I put on my watch list, and I don't know why. It's an Indian film, like a Bollywood film, and Bollywood, those Bollywood films, they do not play around, dude, for real. If you got like three, okay, this movie, I was about to say if you have 3 hours, this movie is 3 hours, 44 minutes.
Good Lord, man. That's like triple R, the RRR movie.
Yeah, but
like that.
But you know what? You know what you're going to get in a Bollywood film. You're going to get like crazy action, awesome singing, awesome like dancing, like it's like the whole nine, So I don't know if I'm gonna watch
special effects that hurt your brain trying to figure out. Well, make
exactly. And the movie only cost $10 million. So again, if this film is $150 million, I just think that over time, like I just think that American films are going to become less and less expensive. I mean, like, why? Why does a film cost $150 million?
Yeah,
I don't get that.
Well, the stuff that's available, like your phone, you could shoot 4K on your phone, like
4K 60 frames.
Regular cameras can shoot 4K and HD instead. Like this, saying like you have raw footage coming out of your regular camera that you buy from Best Buy, like that. The stuff is not as hard and difficult. I was just watching a video about this. Like, there's cameras that used to cost like $80,000. You can get them for $7,000 now.
Wow.
That you made blockbuster movies with.
Yeah, like those Red cameras. So like, you can get those joints for 10 or something, right?
Yeah. So I mean, like stuff, everything is more available. Like computers are more powerful than they've ever been. Cameras and stuff is cheaper. A lot of people getting into the arts now. Like it's I think it's easier to make these movies than it's ever been. Especially with AI can help do some of the heavy lifting for some stuff behind the scenes or whatever.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's like it should be easier to get into stuff than more. It shouldn't cost as much. It should not. Especially like Netflix doesn't have to spend money on billboards and advertisements on TV shows.
None. It's
Netflix just puts it out. Don't they say nothing? I didn't know those movies coming out.
Exactly. I mean, I saw a trailer and I was like, I mean, I was only interested really is because I'm sort of a a Cameron Diaz fan. So, we are talking about Back in Action. This is a Netflix film. Keo, what are you going to rate this joint?
I give it like a 8, to be honest. I like this movie. You know what it is? I had zero expectations. I thought it was going to be goofy. Instead, it was goofy, but actually talented. It was good.
Yeah.
Okay, it was silly, but good. And I'm in that frame of mind where I just wanted some fun. If I watch this movie at a different time, maybe I have a different rating. But like when I watch it, I was like, oh, this is great. Action is awesome. Like we said a bunch of times in this review, action was awesome. The acting was good. Everything I like. I can't get mad at this. Like I give it an 8. I really like this movie.
When I was watching it and as I was getting close to the end, I was like, this is not a bad movie, actually. This is pretty good, right? So I'm also giving it an 8. And that was the first rating I thought about after finished. I was like, this is an 8. And then I went to IMDb and it was like 5.6, 5.9. I'm just like, the thing about it is when you look at the title and it's like, this is a drama, this is an action comedy. Boom, right there. You know, so
you know what you're getting right there.
Right. So you're not getting high end, 007 type stuff. You are getting some spy stuff, but you're getting some slapstick and some comedy stuff, stuff as well. So, I mean, I think people may have gone into this and was like, oh, this is a spy joint, an action joint. And then they were disappointed. They were disappointed with the lack of a lot of action. There was action in this film, just not crazy action, Yeah,
it was in sections. The beginning and the end. There's a lot of action there, but like generally not really.
I think this is a great Friday, Saturday night. You don't have anything to do. You got 2 hours to waste, dude. Go check this out.
You watch this movie with your girl. That's what you do, right?
Exactly.
Because she's not going to like too much action, killing. Yeah. This is just enough.
Yeah, this film is pretty good, man. So Keo and I both gave this joint an 8. Go check it out. It's on Netflix. A pretty good film. Well, there you have it. Thanks for checking out another episode of the Behind the Groove podcast. I am Basil Barrington.
I am DJ Keo.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And until next time, peace.